Warning, this podcast contains violence, sexuality, gore, and other horrible and disturbing things. Listener discretion is advised. Also, be aware that the hosts of this venture are ignorant dipshits, so please do not take anything they say as fact. And enjoy the show.
Now, are you sitting comfortably? Good. Then we'll begin.
Today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be.
The atoms in your left hand probably came from a different star than your right hand.
It is our basic human right to be fucked up.
A second plane now has crashed into the other tower of the World Trade Center.
Putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
The defendant shall be incarcerated for the rest of her natural life with no possibility of parole.
You are not machines. You are not cattle. You are men.
We were somewhere around Bossa, on the edge of the desert, when the drugs began to take hold.
Occultae Veritatis.
We're Occultae Veritatis. I am Mood Gallifrey.
I'm Leon Filger.
Sage Murray.
And joining us,
Kaz.
Yes, we have a guest. She's very shy, so she may stay quiet, but she's here. So, listeners out there, you can feel Kaz in your heart. Just
that feels like something you'd whisper to someone, like, shh, yeah. Stay quiet.
Yeah.
Derek's sleeping.
Yeah, if you
That's exactly what she sounds like.
If you look really hard with your earballs, you'll hear her breathing once in a while during a brief silence. You'll know she's there.
You'll know. You'll know in your heart.
And before we begin tonight's episode, Sage has a little message for everybody listening.
Hello, everyone. This is Sage Murray. This next episode that you will be listening to, I do not recall recording. I had been poisoned by black sambuca and light beer and mead, so apologies in advance for the sloppiness that I'm sure that will entertain you. Enjoy the show. Love you. Bye.
So this episode is near and dear to my heart. Or sorry, this topic is near and dear to my heart. So near and dear that actually, when you guys listen to the intro, you know that part that says you're sentenced to be in jail for the rest of your natural life?
Yeah.
That is the judge sentencing the focus of this case, Jodi Arias, to life in prison.
Nice.
Pretty harsh.
Yeah, so that's how obsessed it is. There's actually the full court trial on YouTube. I've watched it all the way through. I had 3 days off, and in those 3 days, I watched the entire court trial.
Holy shit. Yeah. That's dedication.
It's interesting. Like, I'm a bit obsessed because Jodi Arias, although she is a murderer and she is very manipulative, she makes a very good villain.
I like villains.
She's almost like a movie-like villain because she's very cunning, yet she's very charming, and she seems to have seduced a lot of people to her side, even though none of the evidence is with her.
Cool.
Okay.
That's how I like to imagine that I would be if I were a villain.
Yeah. Complicated.
Yeah.
Am I going to get the backstory on this? Because I don't know her.
Oh, yes.
You'll get the backstory, Cass, don't worry.
Yeah, but first we have to do What's Your Poison?
What's your poison?
So, what's your poison?
This is homemade mead.
Alrighty.
Like a majestic elf.
So,
nerd.
This What's Your Poison is actually a nerdy drink made by nerds. This mead was actually a combined effort of my D&D group. We all chipped in some money because honey is fucking expensive.
What percentage of this is semen?
0.
I'm going to say... I don't know.
No, it's 0. Don't listen to him.
I can't guarantee that I fully sanitize my hands every time I handle the mead.
I went to McNally Robinson once, and they have a section with 2 books, 2 whole cookbooks called Cooking with Jizz.
I'm okay with that.
At McNally Robinson.
Right.
Not in the children's section, but honestly, it was in that bookstore. I swear to God.
I mean, reduce, reuse, and recycle, so you got to do it.
So
for those of you that don't know, mead is Viking honey wine. You put honey and water and yeast together, you wait 6 months, and you have this magical drink.
I'm still drinking this shit that Leon gave me.
Pound it.
I'm already drunk. I'm going to go home to my poor son.
Your son, you're going to breastfeed. Your son's going to get so fucking drunk.
He's 3. He doesn't breastfeed anymore.
Well, that's good. That's a bit weird.
Yeah,
no judgment, but
he quit when he was 2.5 months.
Actually,
2.5 years.
Me and Leon already have some. If you want to drink straight out of the glass, you can.
Yes, I might.
Okay.
Does Kaz want any?
I'll take a small sip out of the mug.
Take a sip of the mug.
just worry about the genital herpes on the rim of that glass.
There's no genital herpes.
Now the trick to this is when you
This smells terrible.
when you let it ferment for 3 months. If you drink it too soon, it tastes like turpentine. But if you wait another 3 months, it tastes slightly less like turpentine.
Does it still smell like turpentine?
Yes.
Oh yes. It has a nice. It fills your nose with burn.
I don't know if I want this.
Oh, Kaz didn't like it. Let me try.
I don't recommend it.
Ugh.
It's like nail polish remover.
Cam's gonna try from Leon's glass.
Oh my God, that's the worst thing we've ever tasted.
If I'm operating my hydromometer correctly, and there's no
like
guarantee that I am, this is about 13% alcohol.
This is good.
Yeah.
I like most things.
There's cinnamon in it.
Yeah, it's like cinnamony.
Yeah, this
Daniel, you wanna try?
is a winter mead, so I put some spices in it. So I put some cloves, some cinnamon, and some a third thing that I can't remember.
I really
Jizz
like
is
it.
what you put in it.
Yeah, probably.
Now, did you
Hey,
come
Kaz, you
directly
can have
into the
this one.
carboy, or did you come into the glass after you poured it?
I think it's more that it was on my hands and it got transferred piece by piece into the product.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's stop talking about jizzy hands.
Now,
It's almost like I gave you a blowjob.
You're almost like I gave you a blowjob.
Now this cost
Usually.
$90 worth of honey. So everybody in the D&D group chipped in $10. So
Thanks,
maybe,
D&D group.
Oh,
Thanks,
yes.
D&D
You
group.
bunch of nerds.
So maybe the sunk cost fallacy is making me enjoy this, and maybe because it's been sitting in my spare room growing, and I've been nurturing
Growing
it like
is
a
a
loving
word for it. It's
father.
been fucking
That's
rotting.
I'm feeding my little yeasties, and then they pee, and then we're drinking their piss. That's
I
what
think
alcohol
Kaz
is.
and I agree that this is shit.
Alcohol is
guys are weird.
I'm with
alcohol
Leon.
is yeast piss, and if you don't acknowledge that, I mean, I can't help you. That's what alcohol is.
Oh my Lord, it's terrible.
Okay, I really like this.
I'm 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm like a 6 out of 10.
0.
Rain on my head. I'm a G-Rap. So I'm driving, yeah? And I'm hauling it up this hill and crowd. And I said to myself, here, man, you can go up this crap too. Oh, wait, hold on. So I'm going like 80, 90 miles an hour, one leg up like that, and did this little ridge, did a barrel roll like Top Gun, dude, like Maverick style. Thing fell, landed on me. Didn't break a thing because I'm unbreakable like Bruce Willis. It's rolled like 4 times. Gonna roll down the hill, and so I grabbed it with one hand, pulled it back up, landed flat on the tracks, but now it's flooded and won't start. That's incredible, dude. That's how I roll. That's how I do crap.
What you just heard is the voice of Travis Alexander telling a funny story about how he crashed a snowmobile while riding with friends. Little did he know, just a few short years later, he would end up the victim of a murder of his ex-girlfriend, Jodi Arias. And that's what we're talking about today. Alrighty, so this episode we are discussing the murder of Travis Alexander by Jodi Arias.
I'm not making this easy for you because fuck you.
I'm okay with that.
Dick.
You're a dick.
Now, if the listeners didn't suspect already, the patrons already know this because I've put this on the Patreon polls over and over again and they never vote for it. But
So fuck you.
Yeah.
Also, I love you.
yeah, I'm going to do it because this case is stuck in my head and I can't stop obsessing about it. And
Who cannot stop obsessing?
I've watched the entire court case a few times.
That's ridiculous.
I know. And I've also read the prosecutor's book. It's a good book.
No way.
It's because that's the other thing. Like, Jodi Ann Arias makes a very good villain, and Juan Martinez makes a very good hero.
What villain in Star Wars?
She would be, not Palpatine. She's not clever enough. She would definitely be Darth Maul, I think.
Ooh.
And then Juan Martinez is Obi-Wan Kenobi, I think. There we go. So Jodi Ann Arias was born July 9th, 1980 in Salis, California. She grew up in a stable household. Her mom and dad stayed together for her whole childhood. Apparently, she had a lot of boyfriends, and she would, in one way or another, drive them away. Now, this is all speculation that I found off message boards a long time ago. So, apparently, one way or another, so what I found on these message boards, one way or another, she would do very clingy things to eventually drive her boyfriends away. She would either become very...
Victim blaming.
This is what I saw on the message boards. She would become very clingy, and she would want to know their location at all times. And
I once drove a partner away by intentionally coming too soon.
Too much dick.
Already, Travis... It's never too much. Travis Alexander was 3 years older than her, being born in 1977, also in California.
My husband was born in 1979.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
He grew up a member of the Church of Latter-day Saints. And
that's Mormon.
Oh, yes. He grew up a Mormon. And that's another part of
Did he have to wear those sexy panties?
Probably.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, the temple garments.
Yeah.
We got to do this to him next time.
Oh,
because fuck Leon.
You know, this became a little more fucked up. I know you're not supposed to speak ill of victims, but he was wearing the magic underwear, and he got stabbed 29 times and shot in the head. So
that is a lot of times for magic underwear.
So did the magic underwear not work, or was he not wearing them?
Would you wear it?
Magic underwear?
Yeah.
If they worked, fuck yeah.
If they didn't work,
bulletproof underwear, I'm up for that.
They were very form-fitting.
I wear them on my head like a fedora.
So, you know those
Like
people that
fancy,
get, you know those people that get in on pyramid schemes really early and they actually become successful and they
Yeah.
convince the rest of the people they can have success?
One of my friends on Facebook with their fucking Rodan and Fields.
Oh, I know.
Fuck that bitch.
Oh, yeah. Funny enough,
I hope she doesn't listen to this.
Travis Alexander was one of those people. So he got in within the first few, I guess, stages of the triangle, and he actually became quite successful in a pyramid scheme called prepaid legal services.
Okay.
It's still around today as Legal Shield, so if there's Legal Shield people skulking around you, wanting to have coffee with you and bullshit,
Do not do it.
It's a pyramid scheme.
Pyramid scheme.
Yeah. And that is where Alexander and Arias met. She was also getting into this pyramid scheme, and she saw Alexander as the successful person that she wanted to become. She wanted his success, because he was successful enough that he was getting free trips around the world with all the stuff he was selling. So he was getting trips to Hawaii and trips to Europe and all that stuff. Yeah, Alexander was a Mormon and told Jodi that he would not be with her until she became Mormon. So,
Ugh, that's so fucking manipulative.
oh yes. So in 2006, Jodi Arias was baptized into the Church of Latter-day Saints. So she became a Mormon. And that is actually part of why this case became so sensationalized. They were two Mormon people, and part of the sensationalism was during the trial, a lot got revealed about their sexual history, including them having sex on the day that she was baptized into Mormonism. So they're the classic, religious people who need to do unreligious and immoral things in order to feel exciting. They had that spicy sexual chemistry, and it went directly against their Mormon vows. So that added to the sensationalism of the trial.
Boo.
Yeah. So that's the intro. So these two people met. They came together through this pyramid scheme, fell in love, all that good stuff. They're both Mormon. They're both supposed to, be saving it for marriage and all that good stuff. Oh, not good stuff, but anyways.
Boring stuff.
When the fucky stuff began, burglary occurred at the residence of Arias' grandparents. So Arias was living with her grandparents at the time, and they reported a robbery. What was reported as missing is a .25 caliber automatic Colt pistol, along with a VCR and some other small things, and Jodi herself claimed to have $30 stolen from her room. Now, there's a few things that were suspicious about this robbery. Very first thing is there was a bunch of change and money sitting on the same fireplace stand that the gun was nearby, and none of that was touched. There was a bunch of high-end items and stuff that would be able to be bought and sold very easily by thieves, and none of that was touched. No suspects were found, and later on it became important because Travis Alexander himself was shot with a .25 caliber Colt pistol. So it seems that Jodi began the fuckiness by stealing a gun from her own grandparents in order to have a weapon to commit the murder. On June 2nd, Arias set out to drive south to rent a car for a long trip to Utah. She made a gasoline purchase at a Shell Food Mart, so she bought a whole bunch of gasoline. And one thing that was held interesting about that is she filled up her tank, and she also had a bunch of gas cans in her trunk that she filled up.
Like extras?
Yeah, a bunch of extras.
Okay.
Arias rented a car at Budget Rent-A-Car in Reading. She indicated that she would return the car to Budget in Reading after she was done with it. She was driving this rented car with a bunch of extra gasoline in the back to meet with Ryan Burns, a fellow PPI worker, so a fellow prepaid legal services person, so another person in the pyramid scheme. And on June 3rd, it appears that Arias had set out for Salt Lake City. Alexander missed an important conference call on the evening of June 4th. Ryan Burns later said he noticed Arias' formerly blonde hair was now dark brown.
Ooh, dun dun dun.
Oh, yes. When Arias returned the car on June 7th, it had been driven about 2,800 miles or 4,500 kilometers. And if she was to drive from her home to the conference, it would have been less than an eighth of that.
Okay.
So
well, that's weird.
Yeah. The rental clerk testified that the car was missing its floor mats and had red stains on the front and rear seats. And because Jodi bought the incident insurance, she was able to drive away and he had to clean it. The unfortunate part about that...
Who's he?
The rental car guy.
Oh, okay.
So she returned the car, had a bunch of red stains in the front and back seat. She made some excuse to him probably that whatever it was.
He spilled juice.
And he washed away the evidence.
Right.
Yeah, he cleaned the car and he washed away the evidence. You would have to think that she would have to come up with some excuse in order for him to just not call the police and all that. On June 9th, a bunch of Alexander's friends were unable to contact him. They found a key to Alexander's house, and when they opened up his master bedroom, his friend entered the room and found large pools of blood in the hallway to the master bathroom. So they found pools of blood, as if he had been injured and was stumbling towards the bathroom multiple times and fell and laid for a while. What I'm going to play for you now is a recording of Zach Billings. He's the friend and the roommate of Travis Alexander, and he is one of the first people who happened upon his body. So here is Nancy Grace interviewing Jack Billings.
The reality is he was loved by many, including his dear friend Zach Billings, who is joining us tonight. Zach, thank you for being with us. I know it must be very, very difficult to hear all of us lawyers and reporters talking about your friend like he's basically state's exhibit number one. We are looking at it from a trial and analytical angle, and you look at it very differently. In fact, you found his body, did you not?
That day I remember, I was actually watching a movie with my girlfriend at the time, or my wife now, and I remember getting a knock on my door, and Travis's friends came to the door, and they said, "Have you seen Travis?" And I said, "Well, no, I haven't seen Travis. He's supposed to be in Cancun or out on vacation right now." And they said, "Yes, he is, but he's supposed to be here with Mimi." And so I said, "Well, have you checked his bedroom?" And that was my first thought. So they said, "Well, no, we haven't. The door's locked." And I said, "I think he keeps a spare set of keys downstairs." So I went downstairs and I searched for him and grabbed a few sets of keys and came back upstairs and tried a few different sets of keys, and one of them happened to be his bedroom key. And as soon as the door was opened, my heart just sank, and immediately on the right-hand side, I did end up seeing a pool of blood and looked down the hallway and saw just blood strewn throughout the hallway, and my heart just sank. I ended up going into the closet that's adjacent to the hallway, and it opens up to the bathroom as well. And that's when I saw his body, and I came back out, and I just told everybody he's dead. Call 911.
When you say that you opened the door and your heart sank, what exactly did you see that made your heart sink?
Just a pile of blood on the floor.
Did you know Jodi Arias? Did you become acquainted with her while you and Travis were living together?
Yes, I did. I'd met her on several different occasions. Jodi actually had an interest in photography, and as it's come out that she loved photography, and at the time I had done photography semi-professionally. And so we had talked a little bit about it. She had shown me some of her work. I had showed her some of mine. And we just met on other occasions to just chit-chat and, how's life, and that was about it.
Were you ever aware that his tires had been slashed? Then he gets new tires and moves his car, and then they're slashed again the next day? Did he confide in you what was going on?
I had heard about that, and he had told me that had happened. However, I didn't, all I was told is that it was an ex-girlfriend, and I wasn't told specifically that it was Jodi, and didn't hear about that until after the fact.
When you saw the bedroom, the bathroom, and confirmed your fears, and you saw his body, his dead body slumped over in that shower, did you think of Jodi Arias?
At that point in time, my thoughts just went directly towards making sure that everybody involved was okay and that we made sure everything was taken care of. Those thoughts didn't come on until later that evening. And
so
even
that very day?
It didn't come on until after somebody had mentioned that Jodi might quite possibly be involved, and then I started connecting the dots, and everything started to make a little more sense.
Yeah, so his roommate and his close friends found his body, and the amount of damage to it was horrific. He'd been stabbed 29 times. His throat had been slit ear to ear, cutting so far that he was nearly decapitated, and there was a single gunshot to the back of his head.
Wow, overkill.
Oh,
right?
Yes.
A wee bit.
So his friends wondered what could have happened to him, and when the police asked them, they all immediately said that Jodi Arias should be checked out and questioned because she had been stalking him. She'd broken into his house multiple times, like crawling through the doggy door, and he had to get rid of the doggy door. She's just made her way into his house multiple times and was cleaning it, cooking for him. She slashed his tires multiple times. So they all suspected her. They had no clue who could do it. They had Jodi Arias on a list of long suspects, but what narrowed her down is while searching his home, they found a digital camera in the washing machine.
What?
So it sounds like somebody took a digital camera and then tossed it in the washing machine and turned on the cycle.
What'd that accomplish?
At his house?
Yeah, at his house. So Juan Martinez, he's the attorney that was called, because sometimes attorneys are called to the scene of the crime just so they can start doing their work early.
Right.
And he thought that might be important. So when the police didn't want that as evidence because they thought it was just a camera or something, he took it. He got the photos processed, and he found a number of deleted images on the camera.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he was able to recover those images even though the camera was waterlogged. He found the first few photos was Arias and Alexander in sexually suggestive poses. It's like they were just goofing around, having a sexy time in the bathroom and striking poses naked for each other and all that.
As you do.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of those photos. The last two pictures were the ones that were horrifying. The second last one shows Alexander in the shower. It appears that he's gripping his knees and looking up at the camera. And it looks like he has a look of horror on his face, like he's being forced at maybe gunpoint to do this.
Yikes.
The last picture was theorized to be taken accidentally, so it appears there was a struggle and the camera was dropped. What the camera caught was a picture of Arias's ankle. And how they knew it was the ankle is because she had some very distinctive patterned pants, and they matched what she was wearing. And next to her ankle was the dead, bloody body of Travis Alexander.
Gross.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, when you look at these pictures, you see basically Travis Alexander is on his back with his arms outstretched behind him. Jodi Arias is sitting behind his head, basically with her butt on her feet, kind of sitting almost in a praying position with her legs tucked underneath, and her arms are reaching over Travis Alexander, and there's already blood running down the back of his neck. You can only see the back of his head because it's curled up, but there will be some breakdowns in our social media, but it looks like She is taking his head and slicing his neck at the moment that accidental picture was taken. Arias was taken in for questioning. She couldn't keep her story straight. She told 3 different versions of the story up to the trial. The first version, she told the police that she had not been in Mesa that day of the murder and claimed that she last saw Alexander years before.
Person that would say,
were you at Travis's house on Wednesday?
Absolutely not. I was nowhere near Mesa. I was nowhere near Phoenix. I wasn't even close to him.
What if I could show you proof you were there? Would that change your mind?
I wasn't there.
Can you be honest with me, Jodi?
I was not at Travis's house. I was not.
I can prove you were there. I can prove it. But what I don't have is I don't have answers on why it happened. Or, maybe something just got out of hand. Maybe things got out of hand.
Did you find the gun? Maybe that would...
Jodi, we're just playing games here. The gun was in your possession. When did you report it stolen?
I didn't even know that there were guns until my grandparents reported it stolen the day that their house was broken into.
When was that?
I don't remember. It was a few months ago, maybe.
What did you do with the gun?
I don't have a gun.
That records check shows you that you guys reported a gun stolen. 25 auto. Just happens to be the same caliber as the weapon used to kill him.
A 25 auto was used to kill Travis.
Yeah, along with multiple stab wounds. A lot of details on this case that haven't been released to the public and not even to Travis's family. And those details are known only by us and the person who did it. Okay, and that's one of the reasons I'm here, is because I believe that you know some of these details. Okay. And I think you can help us.
I would love to help you in any way that I can.
Okay. I have a problem with this trip. I've gone over this trip over and over in my mind and on paper. And even if there's still 20 some odd hours, even if you pulled over to sleep a couple of times.
Oh, did I tell you that I got stranded?
Yeah.
Okay.
You mentioned that. If you slept for 10 hours.
I only slept for
here and here, it would still leave 18 some odd hours. Yeah. For something else. Okay. This is what people are focusing on. Is this trip that you took. Because they're saying she left. She didn't get till Thursday. Wednesday? That's when Travis was killed.
When they found the evidence of the photos being taken that day with her in the house, she changed her story to say that 2 intruders had broken into the Alexander's home, murdered him, and attacked her. And she switched multiple times between she got away and she was able to fight herself out. So that was the second story.
I am listening, Jodi. I am listening, and it doesn't make any sense to me. You know who they are if you're telling me the truth.
I don't know them.
And I don't believe you either. And I can't. You can't expect me to. Why would they do this now? What were they arguing about? What did they say? Their details.
They didn't say a lot. They were white Americans, from what I could tell. They had, what do you call those things? They're like beanies, but they cover your whole face. And you've got like holes for your nose and your mouth and your eyes. And they were, one was black. I think they were both black or maybe dark blue or something. He was screaming, and I was by the bathtub. And he was holding head, and there were 2 people there, and
What'd you say?
I remember putting my hand on his back because he was on all 4 of his knees. He was like on his knees like this, doing something like this or something like, I don't know. And I was like, are you okay? What's going on? What's going on? He's like, go get help, go get help. And I said, okay. And I turned around. There were 2 people there. One was a guy and one was a girl. I couldn't tell that at first, but you could just see one was a girl. And I assume the other was a guy because their build and then their voices. I remember they were wearing like maybe jeans. He wasn't really moving though. He was just staying kind of still on the floor.
And what happened?
Well, as soon as he said go get help, I turned around and they were there and.
Where were they?
They were in the bathroom.
Where at the bathroom? Not in the hallway or in the bathroom?
The girl was in the hallway, kind of. And the guy was more toward in the bedroom, but like still in the bathroom, like on the tile carpet area, right there where it starts.
Okay.
And he started coming in toward the bathroom too, and I.
What happened, Jodi? What did you say?
I took out of like a little pit.
Another part of the case that was sensationalized is while she was still going with the second version of her story, where 2 people broke in, killed Travis, and she escaped, she did an interview with a news station. And in that interview, she declared that no jury will ever convict her because she knows that she is innocent.
All of the evidence against me right now is very compelling.
What really happened in there?
In a nutshell, 2 people took Travis's life, 2 monsters.
You did not shoot Travis.
No, I've never even shot a real gun.
You did not stab him 27 times.
No, that's heinous.
Or
I've never.
slit his throat from ear to ear.
I can't imagine slitting anyone's throat. No jury is going to convict me
Why not?
because I'm innocent, and you can mark my words on that one. No jury will convict me.
2 years after her arrest, when she was confronted with more evidence that she was at fault, she told the police that she killed Alexander in self-defense, claiming that she had been a victim of domestic abuse.
What would be her motive?
That's I was going to ask that same thing.
Like, why would she bother with that?
The theorized motive was Alexander breaking up with her and not wanting to get back together with her. And also, there's a theorized motive that he won a trip to Hawaii. And he was originally going to take Jodi Arias to Hawaii with him.
Right.
But after they broke up, he decided to take his new girlfriend, his rebound, with him to Hawaii. And friends of Arias that were interviewed said that she could not stop talking about this incident. She could not stop talking about how angry it made her that he was taking some
rando rather than her.
And that's where we'll leave Jodi Arias for this time. We have her history, Travis's history, the lead up to the murder itself, and her various versions of stories told through interrogations. Next week, we will get to what is arguably my main point of obsession with the case, and that's basically the battle between Juan Martinez and Jodi Arias, prosecutor versus defendant. And basically, he's going to try and stay one step ahead of her, and she's going to try to do the same to him. And it's quite entertaining to watch, because Jodi Arias is quite a villain, and Juan Martinez is quite a prosecutor. So join in next week for part 2, and let's see just how Jodi got convicted of first-degree murder. Tune in next week. And our palate cleanser for this episode is Hola, Hola, Bossa Nova by the artist Juanitos. Enjoy.
mama cooks in Italy, mama swims in Argentina, mama's got a chunga, yeah. My mama's works in Venezuela, mama likes Cinderella, mama's got a chunga, yeah. I say hola, hola, hola bossa nova. I say yeah, 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 yeah. I got a chunga, yeah. Ba, 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 ba. My daddy Joe, Tijuana, daddy smokes marijuana, daddy's got a chunga, yeah. My daddy wrote Don Quixote, daddy wrote El Quixote, daddy's got a chunga, yeah. I say no, 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 no more tequila, no. I say yeah, 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 yeah. I got a chunga, yeah. Ba, 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 ba. Mama swims in Argentina, mama's got a chunga, yeah. My mama's works in Venezuela, mama likes Cinderella, mama's got a chunga, yeah. I say hola, hola, hola bossa nova. I say yeah, 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 yeah. I got a chunga, yeah. Ba, 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 ba.
Once again, we have a crop of new Patreons joining the Occultist family, and let me just read them off. Our first up is Kim Horan for $10 a month. Thank you very much, Kim.
Beer.
Next up is the Strictly Homicide podcast.
Beer.
Next up is Swindled. Now, whenever I mention Swindled, I have to recommend it. It's a great white-collar crime podcast.
Beer.
And last but not least, the Your Morning After podcast is providing donations for Occultae Veritatis. So thank you very much for kicking in.
Beer.
And once again, if any of you would like to join our Patreon and become an official occultist, it costs as little as $5 a month. You get to get in, you get to join our secret chat room on Discord, you get to vote on future episodes. Every episode you listen to has been voted into circulation by patrons. Also, there's some other goodies hidden, depending on what level you go with. So feel free to hop on patreon.com/ovpod, take a look around, see what you can afford. If you don't have the money to donate, don't worry, I've been there. We've all came from the bottom and all that. What you can do is spread the word about us. So one of the greatest gifts you can give us is the word of mouth. So if you have a friend that you think would like this podcast, or If you have a relative or maybe even an enemy, tell them about this podcast. If they don't know how podcasts work, just grab their phone and subscribe them to us. I'm okay with that. As long as it ends up with a subscription to us, and again, I'm okay with temporarily confiscating phones in order to get a subscription in order to give the phone right back. You can also just share our shit on your social medias. We love that. We love spreading around, and if you want to just give us a shout out on Twitter or shout out on Facebook, word of mouth helps it grow. Teamwork makes the dream work. We want to see this thing grow and expand and all that good stuff. Lastly, we have a voicemail from none other than Mr. Sage Murray. He had to deal with the aftermath of Sage indulging herself during one of our recording sessions, and this is that voicemail.
Hi, this is Mr. Sage Murray. When you guys do your pick your poison, please refrain from actually having actual poison. After your last session there, we had a very long night. So, yes. Thank you.
No worries, Mr. Sage Murray. If you've listened to the later episode, you might have noticed a trend of me picking just creepy juices from random gas stations I go to. So, at least one of our 3 poisons for every episode will be a virgin poison. Alcohol-free. But still poison nonetheless, because there's stuff floating in it, and there's flavors that should never be combined that are combined. So, we'll get still lots of value out of our weird gas station drinks. Anyways, that's the end of the after show for now. I've been Ood Gallifrey. Thank you for tuning in, sitting down, letting us into your ear holes for just an hour. We really appreciate it. Time is valuable, and you spent some of your valuable time with us, and we love you for it. So have a nice week, and we'll see you for part 2 of Jodi Arias next week.